Welcome to Brampton Focus. You know, the millennials, they're the next great wave. And there is a group here in Brampton who, through innovative web marketing and information-based services, is going right after that target audience. My name is Michael A. Charbel. Next, we meet Nikita Brown, who is the founder of thebramptonist.com, right here on Brampton Focus. Welcome back to Brampton Focus. You know, the millennials are the next wave to inherit the earth. And there is an organization called thebramptonist.com, which is focused towards meeting the needs, desires from food to all kinds of things for millennials. Nikita Brown joins us, and she is the founder of thebramptonist.com, as well as Hardeep Kalira, who is here from Brampton Focus. Nikita, welcome to Brampton Focus. Some people would say that millennials, well, we live in a society where people always think that they have entitlements. How would you comment with the new wave of millennials coming up, and some people accusing them of being entitled to have their cell phones and all the things that they need, and not having to wait for things that they should work hard for before they get it?
I definitely think there's lots to be said for kind of the values that millennials hold close to them, but that rap that they get for being an entitled group is not necessarily the case or true. Millennials kind of live in a time now where work is very precarious. You have to work really, really hard to be successful. So I think they recognize that, and that's definitely, you know, that you can't be entitled in this world. You have to work for what you earn.
So you're the founder of Bramptonist.com, and it is a very unique website. Give our folks at home a little bit of perspective of what the offering is with your website.
So Bramptonist.com is a platform to just talk about all the really cool things happening in Brampton, whether it's the arts, food, culture, news, and it's kind of geared towards the millennial group, and really kind of to give them a platform to talk about the really cool things that they are doing, and also to be able to reach out to them and kind of engage with them in a way that's appealing to them, because, you know, kind of the only media outlet we have in the city right now is the Brampton Guardian, and it's not really necessarily reflective of what millennials want and need. So that's why we started Bramptonist.com.
And you've been engaged now for almost a year. You came up to your first year anniversary. How has the response been?
The response has been really, really awesome. You know, we get a lot of people contributing content. We have a lot of open dialogue, and it's really great to see people saying, oh yeah, you know, I really love that pizza place too, or you should check out here, or I'm a young artist and I'm doing this, can you cover me? So it's been a really, really great way to engage people.
Mm-hmm. So Nikita, let's get into some of the challenges that millennials face here in Brampton. When we look forward, and we, you know, myself with a 6-year-old daughter, I look towards some of the job and the employment challenges that a millennial will have. We really are a industrial city and a city full of small businesses. You know, when we look at our children and we want them to grow up to be doctors and lawyers and accountants, we really don't have those type of employment within the city. So, you know, how would you say that we can overcome that challenge?
I definitely think that that will be a challenge for Brampton moving forward. I know we have Toronto, which is, you know, very rich in opportunity, and now we have the emergence of Waterloo, which is like a tech center, becoming a tech center for Ontario. So Brampton's really got to do, you know, a better job of competing with those places to be able to give people the opportunity to work outside of manufacturing. So, you know, we've seen in Waterloo, they're really growing tech, a lot of knowledge-based businesses pop up, and so we have to kind of grow opportunity here. I don't quite know exactly how it will be done. Brampton's got its work cut out for it, and so really there just needs to be, you know, commitment to providing those opportunities for people in the city.
Would you say that the Bramptonist.com is a destination for millennials to get information and to have information? Like we talked about arts, we talked about culture, we talked about food. There really hasn't been too much in Brampton that focuses on that, while the Bramptonist, really that is who you're speaking to, and those are the topics you're addressing.
That's exactly it. It's definitely a destination for millennials to be able to find out information about the things going on in the city, and also to be a part of, you know, that dialogue, because it's all run by all millennials. We're all young people that are contributing to it on an ongoing basis and running everything to do with it. So whether they want to, you know, contribute or they want to just kind of know what's going on in the city, it's a great place for them to come.
So what are some of the topics? I mean, the first one that comes to mind is student debt. Many of the millennials who are now graduating have this arduous student debt over their heads and trying to negotiate repaying the student debt, getting an apartment, working, going out, etc. Is that one of the major challenges when it comes to finances and dealing with life as we see it today in 2016?
Definitely, student debt is a big thing. You know, I think the average student debt now is, or when I graduated, was $25,000. So it's probably a little bit more now. And it's not just student debt, but it's the fact that young people are graduating into precarious work situations too. It's not like it was for baby boomers where, you know, you went to school or you didn't, you graduated, you found a job, you stayed there for 25 years, you got a pension. That's just not how it is anymore. You know, we see employers are moving more towards contract work. We see people working 2 part-time jobs to be able to make ends meet, or they're entrepreneurs and they are doing freelance work.
And really, you know, that's you've hit the nail on the head there. It's costing students about $80,000 to get an education, just to get an undergrad education these days. That's including lodging and books and everything along those lines. And when they're coming out of school, they're coming out with about, like Nikita said, about $25,000 to $28,000 worth of debt. I looked up some stats, and it's taking students 14 years to pay these debts back. And you know, when they're really coming out of school, they're ending up with jobs that pay them around $35,000 to $40,000.
Well, you look at the United States, some student debt is in the $300,000 to $400,000 range, and you talk about an anvil over your head. How will the millennials handle this? I mean, how are they going to handle this? Because it is becoming more and more prevalent that debt and credit cards and student debt is something that millennials, it's like free money. Some of them don't recognize it as an anvil over them.
I think that will definitely be a struggle, but I think it's kind of up to the government, especially, to put things in place to help millennials. We've seen a few provinces that have eliminated, interest on student loans and things like that, and that's a great initiative. And that really helps, because when you're graduating into a freelance job or into a job that you're only making 40 grand a year and you have to make ends meet, it's really difficult to be able to pay your student loan off in a time, like a pertinent time period.
So 1 minute left in this segment. Is there one thing that you can say that is going to emerge that the millennials will identify as a barrier to success?
I would say that it's probably that we're seen as an entitled group, right? That we're not as hard workers as the baby boomers were. So I definitely think that could be a challenge.
When we come back, I want to talk about internships. I want to talk about minimum wage. We talk about our surviving wage. Many millennials are forced to have several jobs to make ends meet, and some of them to gain experience, which is one of the things that millennials have to do to get jobs, is that they have to do temporary work or internships. So when we return, we'll talk a little bit about that. We hope that you'll join us. Brampton Focus is here to inform and to let the community know more about what's going on. My name is Michael A. Charbon. We'll be back with more Brampton Focus right after this. Welcome back to Brampton Focus. We're talking to Nikita Brown, who is the founder of the Bramptonist.com, as well as Hardeep Kalira from Brampton Focus. When we left, Nikita, I brought up the point about internships and minimum wage. Those are two things which are collars around millennials' necks. I mean, they're talking about how do you get a job? Well, you have to have experience, and many people are saying the only way you can get experience is taking internships. But unfortunately, internships don't pay, and with minimum wage being the way it is, to try and make ends meet in Brampton for a millennial, you probably have to have several part-time jobs. A very difficult task. Does that sound fair? How do we deal with that for millennials to have them succeed in later on in life?
You know, the kind of a precedence has been set for millennials, or, young people now graduating, that you have to throw in a couple years of freebies to be able to make money. And even the Ontario government, they hire a very small portion of the people that internship with them. So, it doesn't really set, kind of a precedence for other businesses to really either pay their interns or take them on after they're done work. It's a tricky one, because yes, you do want experience, and a lot of people have to make that sacrifice to really progress in their career, but we have to look at the implications of that for millennials. When you graduate with, $40,000 or $20,000 worth of debt, not being able to pay that off.
I think it really comes down to also, look at the level of education and the point in time where millennials are able to start their careers. It used to be that you used to be able to go to college, get a college diploma, come out with a decent paying job. Now college diplomas, frankly, aren't worth the same as they used to be.
Well, it's almost an undergraduate degree. You have to go and get further education and be more specific.
And beyond that, I mean, a lot of people are having to go get their MBAs and their masters, and beyond that, a PhD in some cases, in order to come out and get a decent paying job that you can make ends meet. And I think that's definitely a challenge. And then you go on, you get your master's degree, you go out there and you say, well, you have no experience, so you're forced to take an internship to basically try to make ends meet through other means.
Nikita, do you think there's enough jobs in Brampton? I mean, one of the things that all our politicians, both civic, provincial, and federal, said, oh, we want to bring jobs, we want to bring jobs. Have you seen any incremental increase in the availability of jobs specifically focused towards millennials?
Oh, there's absolutely not enough jobs in Brampton. 70% of, or more than that actually, of morning commuters are leaving the city to go to their jobs elsewhere. And really, there's not really a diverse economy of job opportunities here. Like you mentioned, it's mostly in the manufacturing sector, and that's pretty much it. There's not much available here. You have to go somewhere else.
Interesting, you touched on transportation. I mean, millennials traditionally, when they enter the workforce, don't have a lot of money for cars. So municipal and civic transportation are huge. So the 2-day, all-day go is a crucial service to be able to get people from where they're living to where they're working. When we look back at some of the stumbles that have happened with the LRT not going through, do you think that the LRT not happening in Brampton has made a negative effect on the millennials and getting quality, good paying jobs here in Brampton?
Absolutely, and people have kind of always talked about, our first priority is all day go, but when you look at the numbers, 70% of people are staying within Peel, so they're either going to Mississauga, maybe a small few are going to Caledon, or they're maybe staying in Brampton, but for the most part, we need that interconnectedness within Peel, and that's going to come back to bite us. I really think so. With, like you said, millennials don't always have the money to be able to buy a car, and that's putting that burden on them by not providing transit for them to be able to travel to and from, especially when they're going to Mississauga. That would have solved the problem for a lot of people. And
even if you did have the ability to purchase a car, the insurance rates in Brampton, unfortunately, due to current effects, I mean, that's a whole other story, but I mean, insurance for millennials are huge too. That's another one of those things that is capping, if you wish, the ability to rise above the cream.
Absolutely.
So I want to talk. There are those constituents who would say that millennials live in a world of entitlement. They always have the best phones. They have to go out and do stuff. They have to have all these accoutrements of our modern day life. Whereas some would say, some of our more senior viewers have said, we had to do a lot with less than what millennials are dealing with now. There is a bit of a disconnect, one would say, that as technology has advanced, you've had to keep up with it, and the millennials are bringing us the next technology. What would you say to folks out there who say that a lot of millennials are living in a world of entitlement?
I absolutely don't believe that. We've talked about debt. That's a big thing that, baby boomers didn't necessarily have to deal with. You could leave high school or, get a college diploma and go and get a job for 25 years. That would pay you great money. And you could buy a house in Brampton for 180 grand. That's just not the time we live in anymore. So it's hard for me to take it when people say millennials are entitled, because we by no means live in a time where it's easy for us to get things at all.
So it's interesting. Every parent says, I want to make it easier for my kid growing up, easier than the way I had it. Do you think that sits true? Is it easier now than what people who have gone through this path before? Do you think it's easier, or do you think it's harder?
It might be easier now if your parents were able to pay for school and you're able to leave school without any debt and you can enter the workforce and get a job right away. It might be easy now in that sense, but that's not the majority of people. The
key there, Michael and Nikita, is I think adaptability. Millennials are forced to adapt to changing environment. I mean, our environment right now is changing every day. Every day something new is coming out. As coming from parents who had immigrated here, really came in with that old school view. Like you go to school, you come out, you get a job, and you stay at that job, as Nikita mentioned, for 25 years, your entire career. And really, that's not the case anymore. So, to say that the millennials are entitled, I would say that that's looking at it from an older point of view. Whereas now, because of the change, we have to adapt to to being in the 21st century.
Well, it's interesting. The two largest commanding groups now are the old folks, who have a set amount of disposable income that they can spend, and the millennials, who are feeding the next generation of things to come. When we come back with our final segment, we're going to drill down a little bit. Let's see if we can use Karnak's fortune telling and see if Nikita can give us a bit of a gauge on what's to happen next and what's gonna materialize, and particularly with the Bramptonist.com. Which you can go on your website, which deals with arts, culture, food, and news. And although it may be aimed at millennials, it also has interesting content that you never know. You may be able to visit as well. When we come back on Brampton Focus, be right back right after this. Welcome back to Brampton Focus. Millennials, some would say they're even a larger group than our older folks in Brampton. They need to be recognized, and we've brought in Nikita Brown, who is the founder of the Bramptonist.com, which talks about arts and culture and food and news, as well as Hardeep Kalira, who is here from Brampton Focus. When we left, I kind of teased, I wanted to know what is coming up next. What's next? What can we look for that millennials are going to bring to our city and bring as innovation? Can you give us, I mean, because with your Bramptonist.com, you've got everything: arts, culture, food, news, everything. What's the hottest thing on the press, Nikita? What's coming up next?
You know, from speaking to young people in the city, they're really, really eager to get things started, to start their businesses, to grow, to, hone in their crafts. And I think one of the biggest things coming that will really help that to happen is university. I think that could be really huge for Brampton. Transit was kind of, and the LRT was a bit of a missed opportunity, but I think a university could really set, a really, really good foundation for being able to create more innovation in the city and to really get things going, get things more exciting here.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a key point here. We talked about the missed opportunity with LRT. We need to get a university, and I think those are the two things that would have attracted the businesses we spoke about earlier to come to our city and open up shop and be able to employ millennials and keep us in the city.
One of the comments that has been said is that for millennials to stay in Brampton, they need to find jobs and they need to be a group which is addressed. How can our city and our politicians make innovative moves and developments to retain the millennials? What are some of the things, Nikita, that you think millennials are looking for from our politicians in our city to keep them here in Brampton?
I think innovation is the key. Brampton kind of does not have a very good reputation right now of being accepting of change and being able to bring about, interesting, cool things. Those things often get shut down or, they never happen. So we really need leaders that are willing to step up to the plate, listen to millennials, and really take what we have to say and execute on those things. So
yeah. The one thing that comes to mind right off the top is voter apathy. When we talk about exercising your right to be able to choose, do you not think that millennials have to take more of a responsibility to get themselves out there and vote and become more involved in the political process? Because many of them, and it doesn't cost you anything to vote, many of them have negated that responsibility.
You're absolutely right. But one of the most inspiring things that I saw recently was the amount of youth and young people that showed up to the LRT meetings and delegated to council and said, we want this to happen in our city. We really, really need this. That's really encouraging. And I think myself and a lot of other people plan to continuing to engage those young people. And so they do come out to vote in 2018. Hopefully they will. At that time, they'll be a little bit older, a little bit wiser, and hopefully they'll understand the need to be able to show their voice by voting in municipal politics, because really that's what affects us on a daily basis.
Now, Nikita, you are on the frontier of a new and a young entrepreneur. I mean, you're utilizing the website or the web concept from phones to tablets to computers, and you're supplying a service which has been lacking in Brampton. Tell us a little more about the response that you've got with regards to the Bramptonians. And it's not just for millennials. One of our Brampton Focus folks with gray hair, Don McLeod, said that he actually went went on your website and enjoyed it, as do many others. So give our folks a little bit of a perspective of some of the services that you can deliver at Bramptonist.com.
So it's absolutely by no means just for millennials. Anybody can access it. It's really just a place to be able to showcase arts, culture, food, young entrepreneurs in the city, talk about good restaurants, places to eat, and kind of create dialogue about some of the notable things that are happening in the news in our city and be able to engage people in that way. And in the online setting, it's been awesome because that's kind of where people get their news now, from their Facebook feed, from their friends. And so, you know, we get a lot of feedback through Facebook, some through Twitter, and people get to engage and share things with their friends. Like, I went to this place and I found out about it on Bramptonist. I ate at this restaurant. It's really great. I checked out this store. And so it's kind of just creating this community of people that can talk about the things they love about the city and really kind of try to promote Brampton a little bit more, because Brampton's kind of gotten a lot of hate in the past, you know, for not having things to do or whatever it may be. And so it's really just about city pride and trying to help people to be an active part of building the community.
So what is good about Brampton? What are some of the things that you've seen that have been realized through the Bramptonist.com? There's so many things, as I said, on your website that talk about different areas. Is there something that comes to mind that kind of comes to the top?
Definitely, I think we've really been able to engage, especially in the LRT debate, engage a lot of young people in speaking out about the things that they really, really wanted in the city. And the LRT is the perfect example because it was one of those things that young people all said, we really want this. And, you know, the politicians said, well, we're not going to do it. And so it really kind of speaks volumes to kind of where millennials stand with the politicians in the city. And it'll be interesting to see in 2018 kind of what happens when people go out to vote. What
about hospital? That was another one of those things. I mean, because the millennials will be the future users of the hospital, from kids to et cetera, et cetera. How does that topic play in? Is there an element on the Bramptonist with regards to politics that you can interact?
There is. We do cover news, and we kind of try to do it in a way that's appealing to young people, because that's one of the biggest challenges is young people aren't necessarily aware of the things happening in the city because they don't really have a place to go that's kind of speaks to them on those topics. So we have talked a little bit about the hospital, and millennials seem excited about it. Even, you know, I think the hospital's gotten a little bit of hate because it's kind of a little bit different than what we were expecting or wanting in the community, but people are excited that it's kind of this new facility that's never been done anywhere else before. So that will be interesting to see how it all comes to fruition.
The cell phone, the advent of your personal cell phone has changed marketing, has changed business. I mean, you're capitalizing on this with the Bramptonist.com in your own website. Is there any trend that you see that's coming up that we should be aware of? Is there any wave that you see coming?
In Brampton specifically?
Yep.
I definitely see a trend of young entrepreneurs helping each other. And it's been really cool to see that there's kind of this community of young people championing each other, whether they're competitors or not, championing their businesses, really helping to kind of create this place where we can talk about all the really cool things happening in Brampton and helping each other out. So that's a cool wave, and I hope that continues.
Terrific. Bramptonist.com. We invite you to go there and visit arts, culture, food, entertainment, news, politics, and a great way to be able to get a really close view of what's happening in your Brampton. I'd like to thank Nikita Brown. Thank you so much for being here, who is the founder of Bramptonist.com, and also Hardeep Kalira from Brampton Focus for joining us. You're watching Brampton Focus. My name is Michael A. Charbon. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.